So this question today basically is about polygons, believe it or not. So this is basically a zoomed in section of a bigger diagram which would have lots of different shapes, and they're all tessellating, okay, which means they fit together without gaps. So the question's basically labelled up these three areas here, and it's telling you that shape A is a square, shape B is a regular hexagon, and then it's asking you how many sides does shape C have based on the information that you have, okay? So what's really important is that you actually know what it means that it's a square, what it means that it's a regular hexagon, all right? So let's start with the square, because I think that's the easiest one. So it's telling you shape A is a square. Well, if you know about your properties of squares, you should know that basically that angle there is 90 degrees, because all of the angles of a square are 90 degrees. It's a regular quadrilateral. It's the square is the proper name for a regular quadrilateral, and all the angles of that shape are 90 degrees. So then we move on to shape B, and this time we're told it's a regular hexagon. Now for it to be regular, what that basically means is that all the sides and all the angles are equal. So we know that to be true, which does help us, but it only helps us as long as we know how many, or what the total of the angles in a hexagon add up to. Okay. Now there is actually a formula for this. So for any n-sided polygon, okay, the total of the interior angles is basically equal to the number of sides, subtract 2, and you multiply that by 180 degrees. So that is a fact that you need to know, okay? So let's look at hexagon. So obviously the language is important here, so you need to know that a hexagon is a 6-sided polygon, so it's got 6 sides, and then we can apply this formula, okay? So if it's got 6 sides, then our formula says it's 6 subtract 2 multiplied by 180. 6 take away 2, following bid maths, we must do the brackets first. So 6 take away 2 is 4. 4 times 180, okay, is 720 degrees. So at the total of the interior angles, okay, that's the total of the interior angles, is 720 degrees. Now, that's all of them together. It's a hexagon, so there are 6 sides, there are 6 angles. So that means that each of those angles, we can find the size of it because it's a regular hexagon, and only because it's a regular hexagon, by basically just dividing 720 by 6. And if you do that, you get 120 degrees. So shape B, it's a regular hexagon, and that now tells us that this angle here is 120 degrees. So we know that's 120, and as I've already said, we know that's 90 degrees. So the next angle factor that we need to use is that these angles, remember it's a zoomed in part of a shape, we can see that this all goes around one point. So the angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So let's call this angle here X, okay, just so it's easy to recognise what it is we're doing. And that means that X is going to be equal to 360 degrees, take away our 90 plus 120, okay? And altogether, that means that X is 150 degrees, okay? So that angle there is 150 degrees. Now, the next tricky bit then is to work out how many sides shape C has, okay? Now, I haven't written out this full question, so I'm going to tell you, because obviously I don't have a lot of room on this board, but I'll tell you that shape C is a regular shape, okay? And in the exam question, you would be given all of that information, all right, which is really important. So shape C is a regular shape. Now that means that all of its angles are equal, okay, so, and they're all 150. Now that's all well and good, but if we don't know the shape, we don't know the total of the interior angles, because as I previously said, this is the formula in order to find that out, and if we don't know what n is, we can't find that out, okay. The easiest way to do it is by using the exterior angles, okay. So the exterior angles of a shape, they always add up to 360 degrees, all right. So if I just show you a quick diagram, so for example, if I drew a pentagon, like so, looks a bit like a house, but that's fine. The exterior angle is if you extend each of the lines in the same direction, like so. So that would be the exterior angles. You could also go the other way, but whatever way you go, you have to go in the same direction. So I've gone clockwise. They all add up to 360 degrees, regardless of the number of sides that you have. Now, what you should be able to see here then is that any exterior angle with any interior angle lie on a straight line. Now that means any angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. And more so, if it's a regular shape, we know that all of the interior angles are the same, so therefore the exterior angles must all be the same. So for this particular shape then, the exterior angle of C must be 180 minus the interior angle, which is 150, which therefore is 30 degrees. Now, we know that for any polygon, the exterior angles add up to 360 degrees, and if each of them is 30 degrees, then basically we can do something really simple to find out how many sides there are. And what we do is this. We can basically say, well, all of the exterior angles add up to 360 degrees. If I divide by one exterior angle, which is 30 degrees, then that division actually tells me how many angles there are. Okay, you can cancel that down, cancel the zeros off, we end up with 36 divided by 3, that's 12. And if there are 12 angles, there are 12 sides, so therefore shape C has 12 sides. Okay. Now this kind of question comes up quite frequently, and this technique can always be used.